Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another 3 Looks 1 palette, and today's featured palette is the LORAC Pro 4. I had a request to do 3 looks with this palette, and specifically as we're heading into fall, some maybe fall inspired looks. Well, that is not hard to do because to me, I think these colors definitely have a fall vibe, and they also, if you watched my undertones video about how to determine your skin undertone and shadow combinations, you might already be able to tell, but this palette has overall a much more cooler leaning undertones to these shadows. Even though there's a couple that have a hint of some warmth, if you have cool skin undertones, this palette is going to work very well for you. And if you are of a more mature skin type, like I am, but you don't like those super metallic-y, glittery shadows that are in a lot of palettes, you actually, even though there are 8 shimmers in here, I think you will actually find these very wearable for you because they are what I would call a gentle shimmer and a gentle pearlized sheen. So to learn more about this palette, to see swatches of all of the colors in here, I will list down in the description box below a link for a video I did with a review and another eye look using this palette. But today I'm bringing you 3 totally different looks, including the one I'm wearing here today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into look number 1. For all 3 looks, I'll be using the same duo, the LORAC Behind the Scenes Eye Primer and the Sigma Eyeshadow Base Primer in Ignite. Now please ignore my hair in this video because I was going to film a hair tutorial after this, so I just have it clipped back. So starting off, I am going to use the shade Chantilly on the E50 along the brow bone to highlight that, and then going in with the Morphe M504 in the shade Pecan, being sure to tap off the excess. I'm going really lightly all through the crease area and just slowly building this up. This is a beautiful kind of peachy pink color, a little bit more on the warm side, but I wanted to just slowly build this up in the crease. And now I'm going to go in with the Morphe M506 and this super dark black currant shade. This is a blackened plum. It's a matte shade, and so I wanted to make sure I had a good amount in the crease to then blend this dark color into. And you'll see I am just going almost vertical with it on the outer corner up towards the brow, and then very gently just smudging that and brushing it towards the center of the lid and slowly bringing that up past the crease. Then using the Morphe M433, I'm going in with the shade Amaretto, and I'm using that to further diffuse that darker color on the outer corner and bringing it a little bit onto the lid, and then you'll see me go actually on the outer edge of the eye as well to further blend and soften those deeper colors on the outer corner. So I want this to be a really nice soft look. Then going in with the Morphe M432, I am using more of that black currant as my liner, using it along the lower lash line about halfway and then smudging it into my upper lash line and just pulling it out slightly in the edge, and then going back with the M506 to further blend that into the outer corner. Then taking my finger, I'm using the shade Begonia, and this is a beautiful shimmery pink. It is definitely pink. It's a rosy pink color, but the shimmer on this is very soft. So even applying it with my finger, I don't feel like you get too much shine when you do that. And then I'm going to use my pinky and go in with a little bit of iced rose in that innermost part just to brighten that a little bit, and then I'm dragging that over part of that shade Begonia. Going back to our M506 and a little more black currant, I'm going to just use this to gently shade and blend that color into Begonia, then go back with my finger one more time to make sure that that pink is a little more vibrant and visible. One more time with the M433 through the crease, no extra product. And then I added my favorite trio of mascara. I just opened a new tube of IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I had been really missing that. Then going in with the Aesthetica angled brush and just the tiniest little bit of blackcurrant, tapping off the extra. I wanted to add a little bit of more of a shadowed liner up on the upper lash line. Once I added mascara, I noticed I really felt like I needed a little more depth there. So just added that, and then going in with the e.l.f. smudge brush and a combination first of amaretto and then begonia. So I'm going in with amaretto first on that lower lash line to soften that, and then a little bit of begonia and putting that more in the center and smudging that along. So it just gives a little hint of some rosy shimmer down there. And then I took a Q-tip to further soften and make sure everything is nice and soft and blended on the lower lash line. And then for inner corner, I start off here with Soft Pearl. And if you're a cooler skin tone, you'll probably really love this alone as your inner corner highlight. But I added a little bit of Iced Rose just to warm it up a little bit, and then took the E30, if I could find it, my Sigma E30, and a touch of Candlelight, and just lightly blended that over the top. So that gave me a little more warmth in the inner corner, which I felt like I needed. For blush today, I'm using the Natural Face palette by Too Faced. I was inspired to pull this back out after the Ulta sale, and I'm going to use a combination of these two pink blushes. So starting off with the E4 from Morphe and lightly tapped into Pink Wink. You can see it's such a vibrant shade, so just the tiniest bit gave me a little bit of some glow there. And then I went into the shade Pink Sand and used that more towards the back of the cheek and just blended into that Pink Wink. So I love the combination of those two. Then I went into the Too Faced Sugar Peach palette and the highlight in there, which is Peach Pearl, on the MAC 140 fan brush, and I just love that highlight. It's one of my favorites, especially when I use more pink or cooler tones on the eyes. I love this highlighter. Using that on the tops of the cheeks, the bridge of the nose, and the Cupid's bow. And then I thought, why not? Let's just add a little bit on the inner corner because I wanted a little more brightness, and you can just see how amazing that highlight really is. For lips, I'm using the Becca Ultimate Lip Definer in the shade Serene. This has just become my favorite lip combination when I want a pink, shimmery pink lip. So I use this to line the edge of my lips, and I bring it in slightly kind of in the corners because I don't want a harsh line. This is quite a bit darker than the gloss I'm going to put on top. Use my finger to blend that in. And then for my gloss, I'm using the Huda Beauty Lip Strobe in Angelic, and this is just beautiful. It is a shimmery gold pink, and I love it paired with this lip liner. And of course, just being sure to really blend that into the edge. And here's the finished look. The hair is done. I have a tutorial linked down below for the hair, but the eyes came together. It's a nice soft pink. I think this is a fall pink look. Now onto our second look. I'm going in with a combination of Chantilly and Brulee. I had a little more sunless tanner on this day, so using the E50 from Sigma. I'm using more of the Brulee shade, and then now using just a touch of Chantilly right under the arch of the brow just to bring a little bit of a lift there. Then I'm going in with the M504 and the shade Warm Ginger. This is going to be an autumnal neutral brown look, so I'm using that Warm Ginger all through the crease, just very softly blending that through, layering that a couple of times to get just a little bit of color going there. Then I'm going in with the Morphe M433 and the shade Cognac, and this is a neutral mid-tone brown. It's not too warm, not too cool, and I'm using that to now darken the outer corner and bring more depth here. And then I am bringing that through the crease about halfway across and then bringing it onto the lid as well. Now going in with EB21 from Sedona Lace, I'm going into the shade Java. Even though this shade has shimmer, I feel like it really performs almost like a matte, and it's a very dark brown black shade. So I'm using that to just slowly lift the outer corner of the eye by smudging it into the outer corner, into the lashes, and then as I get to the outer corner, I am drawing it up towards the brow ever so slightly. So just creating a soft shadowy wing out there, which gives lift to the eye. And then I'm going to take a little bit of cognac to help blend in to the inner part towards, as we get to the inner corner, blend that into the lashes so we have a real soft line there. Then going with the M433 to blend those darker shades out. And then using the E60, I am first going to use the shade Candlelight. This is the most shimmery shade in the whole palette. It's beautiful, and the other look that I will link for you below keeps this on the lid. This is the featured shadow, but today I wanted to show you how you can change this up just slightly. So I'm using the other side of that brush and now using Begonia, and I'm going to now lightly tap that over the gold, and I'm creating a shimmery rose gold shade. So going back then to the gold and lightly adding that, so you can go back and forth until you get the shade of rose gold that you want. But I just love it. It has a little bit of peachiness in there and just a beautiful combination. Going back to the M433 and Cognac, I'm using this to then blend that shimmery shade into the outer corner colors, making sure that's really nice and soft. And there we go. I just love that shade on the lid. Then taking the M432, I am going to take Cognac and use this to just soften the lower lash line there and define those lower lashes, and then use the e.l.f. smudge brush and warm ginger and bring this almost all the way across on the lower lashes, again just to put a little bit of a shadow down there on the lower lashes. So keeping the depth and the darkest color in the outer corner. Then I'm going to use a little bit of liner in this look. This is the Demolition from Urban Decay. I'm using this to line the inner rim of my upper lashes, and this can be scary, but just go slowly, take your time, and you will see, I will show you in a moment, kind of the difference that it makes. It's just subtle, but it adds a little more depth to those lashes. For blush today, I'm using Let's Go Nude by Bare Minerals. This is their Gen Nude blush collection, and I'm using the E4 brush from Morphe, and I just love this blush when I want a very neutral blush shade. For highlighter, I'm using this beautiful Ofra highlighter. Got this in the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, and this is the shade Glow Goals. I'm using the MAC 140 brush to put this along the cheekbones, the bridge of the nose, and the Cupid's bow. And then, of course, I wanted a little more brightness in the inner corner. So I'm going to go in first with Chantilly, and I am just using this to brighten that inner corner. You could definitely just use this as your inner corner highlight, but I wanted a little more. So first I'm adding a little soft pearl to add a little shimmery brightness there, and then I'm going to add a little bit of Candlelight. So Candlelight by itself I just felt like was a little too dark for an inner corner highlight, so that's why I blended those other two shadows with it to kind of keep it nice and bright. But then I decided, hey, why not? Let's just go in with our base highlighter like I always do, and you can see how much more vibrant that makes the inner corner. Then using the E30 from Sigma to blend that out, and our eyes are done. For lips, I'm using what remains of my NYX Nutmeg lip liner and just going around the edge of my lips with this one. This is one of my favorite lip liner colors when I want to do a more autumn brown lip. And then for my lip color today, I am using the Marc Jacobs Enamored Hydrating Lip Gloss Stick in Honey. And this is a beautiful, beautiful color. It's very similar to the MAC Plastique lipstick, which you know I love, which has been discontinued. But this formula is really glossy, shiny, and it doesn't stay around as long as I would like, but it is beautiful and it brings this whole look together. So here's our finished look. And I just love this. I think this is one of those fall autumnal looks that I will be using a lot. Now for our final look, I am going to again start off with Chantilly on the E50, putting this under the brow and to the top of the crease, just layering that a couple of times to make sure it's a really, really good layer down, because we're going to use some darker shades today. So going in next with the M504 in the shade Pecan, I'm going to now just lightly put this through the crease because I wanted a little more warmth. I knew I was going to be using some cooler tones on the lid. So now I'm using the Morphe M433 and more of that pecan shade, and now I'm going to just take my time building this up. And you're not going to see a lot of this color in the final look, but it is going to give us something to blend our other colors into. If you're more of a cooler skin tone, you might actually want to use Rosebud in this step, and I think you will like the outcome of that as well. But I'm just taking my time to build this up through the crease and the outer corner. And then I'm going to go in with the shade Silver Mauve. And this is a really pretty lilac silver color. And it does have, it looks like it's going to have a lot of intensity and shimmer. But you'll see, even putting it on with my finger, it is not overly metallic. And it really is a beautiful taupey silvery color. Then I'm going to use the shade Soft Pearl on my finger and use this to brighten the inner corner, and I'm bringing that over that Silver Mauve shade. And then I'm going to go in with Iced Rose and use that as kind of the transition between those two shades. And I love the combination of all of those shades kind of mixed together. And then I'm going back to the M433, take that through the crease just to make sure that there isn't a harsh stopping point where that shimmer color begins. And then using the M165 from Morphe, this just has a slight angle on it, and I'm going in with the shade Midnight. Again, this looks like it has shimmer in it, but I really feel like it performs pretty much like a matte on the eyes, and it is so intense. So I am using this as my liner today, pressing that into the roots of the lashes, creating just a little bit of a wing and connecting it to the lower lashes just in the outermost part of the corner there. And then I will take that brush towards the inner corner slightly, and again just keeping it super close to the lashes. Then going in with the e.l.f. smudge brush and the shade Java. I'm going to use this to just smudge out that black line. I didn't want the black to take over the look, so I'm going in with the slightly lighter shade and using that to soften the edge of that black shadow, and then further deepen that outer corner just a bit so that we have a nice lift in the outer corner. Going back to the shade Pecan on our M433, just using that to blend out those outer corner shades, just lightly putting that through the crease, making sure everything's really soft. Then, as you can see on the left eye, it looks a little more metallic-y and intense. So I decided I wanted to show you how you can make these shades a little more metallic-y. So I'm taking the E60 from Sigma, and I put one side of the brush in Iced Rose and the other side in Silver Mauve, spritzed both sides with the Ofra setting spray, and then I had to figure out what side of the brush had which shade. So I'm first going in with Iced Rose in the inner corner, And then I am going on the lid with Silver Mauve, and you can see just how it's a lot more intense. So you can definitely leave it without wetting your brush, but if you want more of a metallic intensity, you can wet your brush, and then of course you need to let that dry and then go in with a clean brush if you have it. I went in with a clean M433 and a little bit of Rosebud because I decided I wanted a little bit more coolness through the crease. Back one more time with the e.l.f. smudge brush just to make sure those outer corner colors blend into our shimmery shades on the lid. And then on the lower lash line, I went in with the Urban Decay liner in Stray Dog. It's been discontinued, but the shade Mushroom is very similar. So use that along the lower lash line, and then went in with the shade Rosebud on the e.l.f. smudge brush just to soften that line. For blush, I'm going in with Shy Pink. This is Burt's Bees blush, and I'm using the E4. And you can see I love to pair a kind of baby pink color with a silvery smoky eye. I think it just makes it look a little more fresh rather than so intense. And then for highlighter, I'm using another Ofra highlighter. This is the one in Glazed Donut, and this can be super intense. I went very lightly. This is a beautiful kind of white shimmery shade, and using that on the tops of the cheeks and just lightly layering it, and then put it on the bridge of the nose, the Cupid's bow, and then of course you guessed it, using this to further brighten the inner corner because I wanted that nice and vibrant to kind of help balance out the intensity of the darker shadows we have on our lid. Then one last step for the eyes, I'm taking the shade Chantilly on the E47 from Sigma, I'm just using that and the shade Pecan on the lower lash line just to make it look a little bit softer down here and not like there's a harsh line on the lower lash line. For lips, I'm using the Lancome Le Lip Liner in the shade Ideal. This is a really nice kind of brownie nude shade, has a little bit of some pink in there, and I do really like these lip liners. They are really long wearing. And then after going around the edge, I'm using the Estee Lauder Pure Color Love lipstick in Crazy Beautiful, and this is just that nice true pink lipstick color, and so this would be great for summer. You could leave it like this, but I wanted to add a little bit of a gloss to kind of tone it down a little bit. So this is Aphrodite by Buxom. I'm not sure if this is still available. If not, you could use Lip Gloss by MAC in Oyster Girl. And here's our finished look. Even though I don't use that Silver Mauve shade very often, I love how this look came together. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, that it gave you some new inspiration. Leave your 311 palette requests down below, and I'll see you next time.